Improper integrals. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the concept of an improper integral, evaluate an improper integral, determine if an improper integral converges or diverges, and apply the comparison test to determine if an improper integral converges or diverges. Alright, let's begin by informally looking at an improper integral. So there are three forms an improper integral can take on, and what's new is that the limit of integration can be an infinity. So the lower limit of integration here is negative infinity, the upper one here is positive infinity, or I can go from negative infinity to positive infinity this time. So now let's try to make sense of what that might mean. So let's consider the integral from 0 to infinity of e to the negative x dx. So this is the function here, e to the negative x. And if this were just the integral from, let's say, 0 to 3, this would make a little more sense to us. We're finding all the area under the curve from 0 to 3. So bound by the y-axis here, so we'd be finding all of this area. So I'll go ahead and shade it in. So I'd be finding all of this area all the way up to 3. That would make a little more sense to us so far. So now what we have to think about is what does it mean to go all the way to infinity, to add potentially an infinite amount of area, because this graph of e to the x, it continues forever. It has a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 along the x-axis. So considering this improper integral means considering the notion of adding an infinite amount of area. So as it says here, although the region under the curve extends infinitely, it is possible to have a total area that is finite. So even though we are adding an infinite amount of area here, it's possible that an improper integral have a finite answer. And that's going to be the focus of what we're looking at today, when these improper integrals do have a finite answer, or when there's just too much area we're trying to add and we end up with positive or negative infinity as the result. So we just had an informal discussion about an improper integral, but now we need to formally define it. So to formally define it, we need to fix a number a and assume that f of x is integrable over the interval from a to b for all numbers b that are greater than or equal to a. So in other words, we can find the integral from a to b for all numbers b that are bigger than a, all real numbers b that are bigger than a. The improper integral of f of x over a now to infinity is defined as the limit, if it exists, given by any one of the following cases. So if we have the integral from a to infinity of f of x dx, that's the same as the limit as r approaches infinity of the integral from a to r of f of x dx. So notice we're going to go ahead and let r be the upper limit of integration, but then we're going to let r tend to infinity by defining r to approach infinity as a limit. Or we can have the case where we're doing the improper integral from negative infinity to a of f of x dx, in which case now we're going to let r be the lower limit of integration and let r tend to negative infinity. And then the integrand is still f of x dx. And if we have the case where we have the integral from negative infinity to infinity of f of x dx, we now need to split it into two different integrals. One that goes from a to infinity, and the other that goes from negative infinity to a, where a is just any real number. And so now each of these improper integrals would be defined as their own separate limits. Now, when the limits exist, because like we said at the beginning, if it exists, the improper integral converges. Otherwise, we say it diverges. So we're determining whether or not the area under the curve is going to add to be a finite number, in which case we say the integral converges, but if we get positive or negative infinity, we're going to say that the improper integral diverges. Alright, so let's take a look at our first example. We have the integral from 2 to infinity of dx over x squared. So what we need to do is turn this into the limit as r approaches infinity of the integral from 2 to r, so the upper limit of integration was infinity. I replaced it with an r and let r tend to infinity through a limit, And then I'm going to rewrite my integrand as x to the negative 2, and then I'll put my dx. So now what I'm going to do is solve this integral. So I'm going to use the fundamental theorem of calculus. This is x to the negative 1 over negative 1 evaluated from 2 to r. But I still have to bring down with me the limit as r approaches infinity. So now I'm solving, again, this definite integral. So I'm substituting in the r first. So if I substitute an r here, r to the negative 1 would move to the bottom. So this is negative 1 over r minus, if I substitute in 2 here, so 2 to the negative 1, that would move to the bottom. So I have a negative 1 on the top, and then 2 to the negative 1 would be 2 to the 1 on the bottom. And so now this is the limit as r approaches infinity. So now, here's my variable r, which is in the denominator of its own fraction. So since the bottom is growing bigger faster here, this portion is going to tend to 0. And here I have minus minus, so this would become a plus. So this part here is going to go to 0, so all I have left is positive 1/2. So since this exists, this improper integral from 2 to infinity equals 1/2. Since this is a finite number, we would say that this improper integral converges, and it converges to 1/2. Let's move on to this next example, the integral from 0 to infinity of x squared dx. So we can start by rewriting this as the limit as r approaches infinity of the integral from 0 to r of x squared dx. So this antiderivative is going to be x cubed over 3, evaluated from 0 to r, and this is still the limit as r approaches infinity. So this, again, is still the limit as r approaches infinity of now substituting in my r, I'll get r cubed over 3, and then plus 0 over 3, or just 0. So now I have to think about what happens as r approaches infinity. So now I have r cubed, and if r is approaching infinity, if this numerator is getting really big really fast and the bottom is staying 3, then this ends up being infinity, which means that this improper integral diverges. And now if we think about this problem, we have the integral from 0 to infinity of x squared. So hopefully this answer makes sense to us because we're thinking of the parabola x squared, but only past 0 and all the way to infinity. So I'm thinking about adding up all of this area here, which as this function is growing and growing and growing, I'm just accumulating more and more area. So there's no way this is going to converge to a finite number, as opposed to the previous example, which was 1 over x squared, which looks something like this up in the right quadrant. And we were concerned with it from 2 to infinity, so this at least had a chance of potentially being a finite number since my function here is approaching the x-axis. But this x squared had no chance at all of converging to a finite number because the area was just growing and growing and growing as we moved closer to infinity. Alright, looking at this next example, the integral from negative infinity to negative 1 of dx over x. So we'll start by writing this as the limit as r approaches negative infinity this time of the integral from r to negative 1, so replacing where negative infinity was with r, of dx over x. Alright, so now this is a special antiderivative, so this antiderivative would be the natural log of negative 1 over r. And this is at the limit as r approaches negative infinity. So now, as r approaches negative infinity, if I were to substitute in big numbers down here, well, this inside part would end up going to 0. So we'd have the natural log of 0, which doesn't make sense. I cannot substitute in 0 into the natural log function. So if we think about natural log, looks like this, and there's a vertical asymptote along the y-axis. So natural log of 0 is a non-real number, so this does not exist. So in other words, this improper integral diverges. Alright, so this brings us to a theorem. If a is greater than 0, so if a is a positive number, then if I'm trying to evaluate the improper integral from a to infinity of dx over x to the p, this improper integral is convergent if p is greater than 1 and divergent if p is less than or equal to 1. So this should seem familiar. So in these two examples, we're being asked, does the integral from 4 to infinity of dx over x squared converge or diverge? So we have to recognize this improper integral to be in this form. So our a is a positive number, 4, and our exponent of x in the denominator is 2, which is a number that's greater than 1, so we can automatically say that this improper integral converges. And on the second example, the integral from 1 to infinity, so we have 1 as a positive lower limit of integration, and we have dx over the cube root of x, which is x to the 1/3. So since 1/3 is less than or equal to 1, we can automatically say this improper integral diverges. All right, the last thing we're going to look at is the comparison test for improper integrals. We need to assume that f of x is greater than or equal to g of x, which is greater than or equal to 0 for all x values greater than or equal to a. So in other words, f of x is always above the function g of x, and both of these functions are above the x-axis. So the first part of the comparison test says that if the integral from a to infinity of f of x converges, so f of x is the function on top, the one above g of x, if the one on top with more area underneath it converges, then the integral from a to infinity of g of x dx must also converge, because g of x is below f of x, so if the bigger one converges, then the smaller one has to. And the second part says that if the integral from a to infinity of g of x dx, the one on the bottom, diverges, so the one with less area diverges, then the integral from a to infinity of f of x, the one with more area than g, must also diverge if g diverged and it had less underneath it already. So again, this should seem familiar as well. So in this example, does the integral from 1 to infinity of dx over the square root of x cubed plus 1 converge or diverge? Apply the comparison test to determine this. So we're going to compare it to a series of the form. So we're going to go ahead and compare the integral from 1 to infinity of dx over, I'm going to choose to rewrite this as x to the 3/2 plus 1. So I'm going to compare this to the integral from 1 to infinity of dx over just x to the 3/2, which we know this one has to converge. So this one has to converge because 3 over 2 is greater than 1, and we're applying the theorem from the previous topic. So if this one converges, then I need this one. What I want to happen is I want this one to be smaller than the one I compared it to. So if I can show that this one is always less than this one, so this one's the smaller one, if a bigger one converges, something smaller than it has to converge. So this rational function on the left side is always going to be smaller than this one because this denominator is bigger. It's bigger by 1, but it's still bigger. So when the bottom of a fraction on one side is bigger than the other side, then that fraction in general is smaller than the other one. So this inequality does hold true, so we wanted this to happen, and it does. So by applying the comparison test, we can say that this one converges as well.